I'm your host Naeem bin Mohammad Rafi, and here's my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about Indian elections and the story of the butcher of Gujarat and the most criminal, most corrupt person in the world, Narendra Modi. His membership as an RSS and his friend who was a criminal who killed millions of Muslims and burned them alive and continues and just demolished Babri Mosque, and forcibly they took Kashmir, occupied Kashmir, and they have amalgamated in there by abrogating their constitution, Article 370, as a part of India. I think just like Israel, the rogue state, India has become a rogue state unless this man is now removed forcibly from BJP and RSS and Rahul Gandhi or any other person from the Indian parliamentarians becomes the Prime Minister. There is no hope for India at all. And I will put some clippings to give you as a proof.
His lies. He claims credit for Ram Mandir. He had no contribution in doing anything about getting the Supreme Court to clear the Ram Mandir project. It was I who did it.
Why aren't you thrown out of the BJP? You don't think that the high income tax is going towards the development of the nation?
Not at all. That money is not used for our development. Essentially, the country is losing.
Realistically, what's India going to look like in 2030?
Assuming that Mr. Modi is going to be the Prime Minister.
Yes.
It will be a 1930 of the United States. We'll be in a massive depression.
What do you make of the coming election season?
BJP should fight without Mr. Modi.
I'm just talking about the average Muslim. Should they worry about their physical or emotional safety in India over the next 10 years?
From Jawaharlal Nehru's time, there has been a deliberate attempt to create a situation where the Muslims feel that they are only safe with
Do people in political positions of power
to what the Modi government is offering? And therefore, if I may ask you this, so that let's get this absolutely clear. You are saying it's a completely different vision to the Modi vision, but what are those three things, according to you, that you believe make your vision stand out, and which, according to you, in this campaign have become your three calling cards, if I may call them that?
Well, first of all, it's justice. I mean, this has been a problem for the BJP right along with us, going back to the 2004 election, when they grandly proclaimed India shining without ever asking the question who India was shining for. We are a party that actually cares about those who've been left behind, those who are marginalized, those who've been excluded. And that's the first major difference between us. We stand for an India that will actually give people opportunities who haven't had them during 10 years of Modi rule. Second, we stand for inclusion, they stand for exclusion. And that means inclusion of all. People of all religious and other community identifications, all castes, all languages, all regions of our country. The BJP stands for Hindi Hindutva Hindustan, and the recent rhetoric of the BJP leadership has explicitly pointed at excluding one community from the benefits of Indianness, and that is the Muslim community, who've been demonized as infiltrators, who've been demonized as people who don't have the same rights as Hindus in this country. So that's the second major difference. The third major difference, very frankly, is one of diversity, both political diversity in the composition of the India bloc and the diversity in terms of the kind of representation you see across the India alliance, the India bloc, as well as the diversity we celebrate within our parties. We really want to mirror India as India is, or Bharat as Bharat is. We are not interested in a partial, narrow-minded, exclusionary version of the country that Mr. Modi embodies and articulates. We don't disagree that welfare is essential. We will probably do some things differently. You've seen from our specific suggestions, things like the Mahalakshmi program and so on. And one final difference, though you only asked for three, is that we, unlike Mr. Modi, are committed to rolling back many of his anti-people decisions, pronouncements, and laws. We will, for example, we're committed to abolishing the Agniveer scheme, which is destroying the professionalism of our army. We are committed to not making it possible, for example, to persist with the kind of amendments to the UAPA that allows the government to lock up people without trial, without charge.
अदानी और अंबानी का नाम जिस दिन प्रधानमंत्री ने ऐसे स्टेट से ले ली, उस दिन हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री ने हार मान ली। कोविड आता है, आप मर रहे थे, उन्होंने आपको कहा थाली बजाओ। अदानी को कहते हैं पैसा गिनो। नोटबंदी वाले प्रधानमंत्री ने बोला कि अदानी और अंबानी काला धन देते हैं, तो आपने उन पर सीबीआई ईडी की इंक्वायरी क्यों नहीं कराई? कोविड आता है, वेंटिलेटर नहीं है, ऑक्सीजन नहीं है, गंगा में लाशों के ढेर, और नरेंद्र मोदी की पार्टी कोविड वैक्सीन बनाने वालों से जब आप लोग मर रहे थे तब पैसा ले रहे थे। करोड़ों रुपए नरेंद्र मोदी की पार्टी ने कोविड वैक्सीन वालों से पैसा लिया। आप मर रहे थे, उन्होंने आपको कहा थाली बजाओ। आपको कहा थाली बजाओ, आपको कहा मोबाइल फोन की लाइट चलाओ। अदानी को कहते हैं पैसा गिनो। टेम्पो में भेजो मुझे। उनको कैसे मालूम कि अदानी टेम्पो में पैसे भेजता है? कैसे पता उनको? और भाइयों और बहनों, हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री, नोटबंदी वाले प्रधानमंत्री ने बोला कि अदानी और अंबानी काला धन देते हैं। तो मोदी जी, अगर अदानी और अंबानी काला धन देते हैं तो आपने उन पर सीबीआई ईडी की इंक्वायरी क्यों नहीं कराई? क्योंकि वो आपके मित्र हैं। उनके हवाई जहाज में आप खूब उड़े। 10 साल अदानी अंबानी का नाम नहीं लिया। मगर भाइयों और बहनों, मैंने छोड़ा नहीं। अदानी अंबानी, अदानी अंबानी। अंत में नरेंद्र मोदी, हिंदुस्तान का प्रधानमंत्री, कांपते हुए कहता है अदानी अंबानी का नाम पब्लिक में लेता है। अदानी और अंबानी का नाम जिस दिन प्रधानमंत्री ने ऐसे स्टेट से ले ली, उस दिन हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री ने हार मान ली। मैं बता रहा हूं, आप लिख लो, मीडिया वाले लिख लो, नरेंद्र मोदी हिंदुस्तान का
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार जरूर